Bona nit a tothom. En aquest quart programa d'Estraperlo TV, com heu vist, hem repetit el format del Dia de Goril·la, primer el concert i ara l'entrevista. Bueno, ho hem tingut a Shelter, crec que era després d'haver portat a Youth of Today i Gorilla Biscuits a la sala, només ens faltava portar Shelter, però bueno, encara ens queda un grup. El pròxim grup que crec que hauríem de portar seria Judge. I res, doncs, juntament amb el company que presentaré ara, en Gavi, esperem que podem portar-los l'any que ve, al juny, en el Summer Blast. Tenim aquí el Gavi. Gavi, què tal?
Hey, ¿qué tal?
Yep.
¿Se escolta bé o
¿Qué tal
qué?
todo? Sí, todo
Bien,
bien.
no
¿Qué
fem,
tal
no fem.
todo?
Sí.
¿Qué
Bien,
tal?
aquí
¿Qué proyectos
encerrados.
estás ahora? ¿En qué proyecto estás ahora aparte de entrenador personal?
El pupilo de entrenador personal no, ha abandonado la carrera. Ha abandonado la carrera.
¿De
Pues
verdad?
nada, haciendo el disco nuevo de Apreis, que joder, con la cuarentena y con todo hemos cancelado grabación y tal. Y bueno, esperemos que grabarlo antes de que acabe el 2021, adaptando un poquito Kanky Pass Down a la situación que hay. Porque, bueno, es lo que hay. Obviamente no va a haber Kanky Pass Down a finales de enero como cada año. Se va a intentar hacer algo a finales de mayo, pero bueno, estamos un poquito pendientes de cómo evoluciona todo y nada, y así va el tema, ¿sabes? O sea, adaptándonos a la situación y esperando que la situación mejore y que todo vuelva a la normalidad.
Ya, la verdad es que el tipo de conciertos que montamos nosotros creo que vamos a ser los últimos. Y aparte de hacer conciertos de hardcore con sillas y distancia de seguridad, creo que sería un
No,
peligro. A lo mejor no copiaríamos el
me,
virus, pero nos abriremos demasiadas las cabezas, creo yo.
me lo propusieron, ¿eh? Varias gente me lo ha propuesto en plan de, podemos hacer algo así como más tranquilo. Es en plan, bueno, tampoco no hay que desvirtuar el asunto, ¿sabes? O sea, no se puede, no se puede y ya se podrá, ¿sabes? Pero
Ya,
cuando
ya.
volvamos, volvamos con fuerza y como se tiene que volver.
Sí,
Y nada.
esperamos que sí. Lo que no, espero que no se haya borrado mucha más gente, porque ya quedábamos pocos, como para que ahora haya un par de años de break en esto del hardcore puede ser un arma letal, creo.
Bueno, yo qué
Bueno, pues
sé.
nada, vamos a ver si está ya nuestro invitado en el otro lado, a ver si está Sammy, ¿está por ahí? Hey, here we
Y
are. How
Yeah.
are you?
Hola. ¿Qué tal?
All
Good.
good?
hola. Good,
Good.
Does
Good
it
good.
to
work
see
with the
How's
you.
headphones?
California?
Does it sound okay?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
California
How
is
is life?
nice. Life is okay. It's crazy times. My daughter is homeschooling on the computer, so I'm like, at home, kind of making sure everything's cool with her, and trying to just make the most of this crazy time. We have this election, which is fucking crazy, and
Yeah,
it's
how's the
just a wild
situation with the
time.
elections? Is the people on the streets with the election and all those things or not?
Not so much. You hear of little things happening. I don't think it's as bad as people thought it was going to be yet. It really depends on what Trump does. I think he's going to lose, but if he doesn't want to get out, then yeah, then people are going to get pissed. But then again, if he loses, his his people might get pissed. It's been a crazy year. I don't know. I trying to
Yeah,
trying to think about it and be involved, but also trying to step back and think about what's important. You know what I mean? Which is family
yeah,
and people like you, my friends, and that's
yeah.
important
Cool.
too. Don't get me wrong. The election is important. It's very important, but
Yeah,
there's only so
yeah.
much I could do.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave you with Gabby to do the interview and see you in a few, okay? See you later.
Thank you, my brother. Cool.
Yeah. What's up,
What's up,
Sammy?
Gabby?
Long time no see you.
Are
Well,
you
actually,
in?
it was.
This
Sorry.
is your part. Are you in your apartment where I stayed at that one
Yeah,
night?
yeah, yeah. The place where you
Ah,
stay.
that's so
Yeah,
cool. I feel like I'm at
yeah.
home.
At least it's
Yeah.
a little bit familiar. So last time I saw you was actually a year ago with the shelter in Spain and the Netherlands, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it was. Yeah, at the
yeah,
Sound of Revolution.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was cool.
Time
That was a
flies.
special show, man. It does fly.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't played drums in a while. It's kind of sucks, but But yeah, I mean, it's crazy that was a year ago.
Yeah. So let's start with the interview. So
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna ask you a little bit how you get involved in hardcore, because I asked a few people something about things that they would like to know about you, and everyone is really curious that you get involved at very young age, like at 13 or 14, right? So
Yeah,
how,
yeah.
how does it happen?
Um, I grew up in New York City, like in Greenwich Village downtown. So, you tend to grow up kind of fast that way. And also, my
Uh-huh.
dad is a drummer and my grandfather's a drummer. So, I had music and I was playing. And when I was really little, I was into Kiss. And I was like, it
Uh-huh.
was Kiss. They had makeup and I had the makeup and I was really into that. And so, just at a very young age, the idea of like rock and, of music like that on that level was exciting. I had an older sister, and she was into like Blondie and Devo, and kind of got me into that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then she introduced me to two guys who were older that were in a band that was like punk and reggae and ska and a little bit hardcore. They covered "Power" by Agnostic Front, and they needed a drummer, so
Uh-huh.
I started playing with them. The band was called Noise Police, and they were in high school, and I
Uh-huh.
was 11 years old.
Uh-huh.
And so that was sort of like my first band. We would play little shows. We played their high school, and we played a couple other things. And then my friend met Walter from Gorilla Biscuits, his little brother, and
Yeah.
said, "Hey, my brother's got a band called Gorilla Biscuits. They need a drummer." And I was 12 years old, and I started playing Gorilla Biscuits, but I wasn't that good, so they kicked me out. But that's when I met those guys, and now I met the New York hardcore scene, and just kept. Next thing you know, I met the guys from Side by Side, and they needed a drummer, and it was all just. And then Side by Side started playing with Youth of Today, and then Youth of Today needed a drummer, and it was just a little bit of timing, a little bit of like just working at it. I had a drum set, I had a place to rehearse, and I loved it. I was really into it. That was everything to me, was being in bands with my friends. So it just kind of happened. Yeah, I guess my older sister, and then my dad being in music, and then just being a New Yorker, and being connected, being able to find it. I'm thankful that I've just because a lot of people never find it, and I found hardcore the same way that you did.
Cool. So that's
Yeah.
actually 30 years ago, right? Or 30 something.
Uh, no longer. 35. Well, I'm 47 now, so like I was 11.
Yeah,
Yeah, 30
36
something
years.
years ago. It was like
Yeah.
1986, 85, 86. Kind of
Yeah.
getting into it,
Well,
and but back then
I
too,
was
like
4.
Blondie. I mean, like many people, for me. It was the Sex Pistols. It was the Dead Kennedys. It was the Repo Man soundtrack. And then and like Flipper, and like just punk, I guess, and these compilations and records, and going to record stores, and not
Uh-huh.
really knowing the difference between Suicidal Tendencies or the Exploited, but just I liked it all. It was fucking exciting.
Yeah.
And then as you peel back the layers, you realize, wait a second, Suicidal Tendencies is California, that's that, and Straight Edge is this, and DC is this, and Boston's that, and England is this, and like you start to piece it together, and so I think my whole musical journey has been a very natural, just like just kind of happens natural. Let's play music. Let's do a demo.
Yeah.
Let's do an EP. Let's do an album. Let's play some shows. Let's play a lot of shows. And if I would, the plan was not to be playing Shelter, Youth of Today, Judge shows 30 years later. I just, that's where we
Yeah.
are. It's natural. It just happened, and it feels good.
Yeah. That actually today, a couple of friends, we were talking about that right now it seems like when you start a band, there is like a plan that, hey, we need to do a record. We need to do a lot of touring, and then it's like it's missing the fire inside, because as you said, you never plan about touring the world with Shelter or Just for Today or whatever. It just happened.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it lasts 30 years. But well, i'm
Yeah.
gonna i'm gonna ask you to define in 10 seconds all your bands. Okay, the classics and the new ones. Okay, so just for today, in a few words.
I mean, I was a fan. That was my favorite band. To me, they were the best before I was in the band. I love them, and I think Ray Capo is really special, and Ray and Purcell together is special, and the music and the message, it's pure fire. It's fucking pure fire. If you could see them, I mean, Youth Today now is special, but Youth Today back then, it's always special. I mean, Ray is unique. He's a really special one, and so I love that band. I'm a fan.
All right, good. Side by side.
That's a cool one. That goes back to the beginning for me. That was like my first band. It was the first thing I ever really recorded. It was the first 7-inch I ever recorded. Recorded Violence to Fade for the Together compilation. And listening to it now, it's a really cool band. I mean, Eric had the whammy bar with the guitar. The music was like, it wasn't so formula. It was like a little bit weird, the music, I think, looking back. And it's really unique. It's more unique now listening to it than I thought it was at the time. Those are just special songs. And we were different people, but in a cool kind of way. We had this big, tall, skinhead bass player, Billy, and Jules was his own guy, and Eric was his own dude, and I had my own. I was a baby, and and Alex Brown, and then Gavin was in the band for a little bit. It's a special band.
All right. So, rival schools.
It just felt refreshing. It just felt like a big breath of fresh air. It was like a big deep breath. When I look back at it, it just feels, we were able to just experiment a little bit. And the thing about hardcore, I love it, but sometimes you get kind of stuck in these kind of little rules. You can't write it. The song can't be too long, and it can't be this and it can't be that, but it needs to be this. And with rival schools, we were able to just stretch a little bit, and just have fun and experiment. And we had some success and we had some success in the UK, which was cool because I'd never experienced that before. The UK was like it was playing on the radio, and there was videos and there was interviews, and it just felt like a little different, which I like new experiences. So that was fun, and and even to get back together and do pedals 10 years later. It's just kind of this special it's just, there's no real rules to rival schools. It's its own thing.
Yeah. And what about Judge?
Judge is it's so cool because there's so many different times. There was Judge when I wasn't in the band, when it was a 7-inch and it was really Mike and Purcell. There was Judge, back then, the first time around in 1989 and 1990, and then there's kind of Judge now, which we went to Bangkok, we went to the Philippines, and we travel the world, man. We go to South America, and we get to play, and I think the music aged well, and the message is really strong, and what's also cool, it's hard to think now because there's so many bands that are doing heavy, but Judge at the time was one of the first bands to really take youth crew hardcore, I guess, and put it into that sort of metal setting. I mean, a few bands were doing it, the crossover, but I think we kind of had our own little thing, and also pushing the envelope with the lyrics, and just Mike was a little extra pissed, and it was a little extra a little extra in your face, and so I love that band, and love it.
And Project X. How many shows play Project X?
Maybe 6 shows or 7 shows. I mean, it was really a project, It was really fun. If it just was it was just so much fun just to go into something and let's do these 4 songs. It's a 7-inch. One song is 5 seconds long, and it's a project. And we had these fake kind of code names and stuff. But it was also very serious because we were so fucking straight edge, and we were so into it that Straight Edge Revenge, really meant a lot. And the song Shutdown really meant a lot because CBGB's was our home, and we got banned from CB's. We weren't allowed to go to play or go. And so that pissed us off. And it was a very, it was a project, but it wasn't a joke. It was real, and it was cool.
So now about the new ones, Will Be Free. Well, it's not that new.
Will Be Free.
How long you've been.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's cool about new bands is that you start it and it's new and maybe it's a project and maybe people don't really know what this is, but the next thing you know, time flies and here we are. Now we've been banned for 3 or 4 years and we've got our second
Yeah.
release coming out. I moved to California from New York like 8 years ago, and I kind of wanted
Uh-huh.
to do like a California project or like a band, with locally. And Scott Vogel and Andrew and Joe Garlip, and they were like the dudes. So we just started writing, and I think we wanted to make something that was kind of like classic, like Gorilla Biscuits or Minor Threat or something. And we worked at it. We worked really hard. We wrote a lot of songs, and we put out this record about 3 years ago. And then we just couldn't tour. Scott got injured, his back got screwed up, and he's also in Terror, who's really busy, and everyone's just really busy. So it was sort of felt more like a project, but just kind of stayed at it and started writing more songs. And now we've got this new record, which comes out. Now it's coming out actually in December. It's a little bit delayed. I think December 13th. But it's called One Time for Unity. Chuck Reagan from Hot Water
Uh-huh.
Music sings on this one song, and
Cool.
it's cool. It's cool. I love the band. Yeah.
Nice. And then you have, I don't know if it's a band or if it's a project, but Constant Elevation.
Constant
Is that a
elevation
band or is
causes
it,
expansion. Same kind of thing. Like I said before, I mean, a lot of these things you don't know what they are when they start. Judge started as a 7-inch. Gorilla Biscuit started as a demo tape. Like, you just plant little baby seeds and you see where it's going to go. So Constant Elevation was something that I started writing my own music, and I wanted someone to sing. And I reached out to Vinny from the movie Life, who's an old friend, and he sang on it.
uh-huh.
And yes, at first it was a 7-inch, but then it was like, it was fun. Let's write some more songs, and let's play some shows. So we needed a band. So we got Mike Ireland from I Am the Avalanche and Yanni from Caspian to play in the band, and we started writing new songs. It was like, now we have new music, let's record. And now we have the second 7-inch called Freedom Beach, which came out. It's you take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and I'd love to make an album, with Consolation, and I'd love to keep
Uh-huh.
both those bands going. They're cool.
Okay. So let's go back to Shelter. I mean, I know you've been in the band like in a couple times in the band, right? Like
Yeah.
you recorded 7-inch and then you were before
Yeah, I recorded
Mantra.
yes, I recorded Serenagity and Free Will. Those were
Well,
the first two recordings I think that ever came out. And then I I kind of was out of the band, and then I was back in, and we played some shows around when we were writing for Mantra together. I didn't play on the Mantra record, but we were writing together. We toured with like that weird tour with Typo Negative. That was probably like the
uh-huh.
early '90s, I guess. And then I was out, doing Civ, doing other bands, and what's kind of interesting about Shelter is that they continued, and I like bands that always have the band members, like the Clash or
Yeah.
whatever, like it's something special about that. But I do think it's sort of cool that Shelter has been around for so long and put out so many records, and they're all kind of different, and they've had all these different lineups. And Ray is the constant, Raghunath, Ray Capo, he's the constant one.
Yeah.
But these different members, and so you can hear how it sounds at these different like points, and everyone has their favorites. Some people like the later stuff, some people like the earlier stuff. I mean, when we write a set list, we argue a lot about that because
Yeah.
some people think that this is the best Shelter, and other people think that's the best Shelter, and what's the most fun set list going to be? So,
But on the
but
reunions, you only
yeah,
play until Mantra, right? Nothing else. I mean, it's this until Mantra, nothing from the last
I think
records,
we
right?
play no, just the first three records is pretty much what we focus on.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think End Hits Records is going to reissue the later records, and
Yeah,
so maybe we'll play
yeah.
some of those songs. Yeah,
Well,
I never listened to those later records, to be honest. I mean, I not too much. So I think to me, my favorite Shelter is when it was a little bit scary. When they came out, they were Hare Krishnas. They had robes on, they had sikas, they had tilak, and the music
yeah.
was really fucking crazy. It was heavy, and Ray was doing a little bit of Youth of Today style screaming, but also singing in this really cool, weird way. And there was chanting, and there was samples, and it felt dangerous. And so I like, you know, when Shelter plays now, I'm trying to conjure that experience, you know, the dangerous Shelter. Let's turn the lights out. Let's fucking light some incense. Let's you know, if you're a devotee, then let's invite devotees on stage. That's what they used to do. I mean, I think that's special, man. I mean, you know, and those guys are Hare Krishnas. I'm the only one that's not. I mean, Madhu, Casey, Paramananda, Raghunath, they're all devotees. So do it.
Yeah. And a friend of mine asked me, how come you were not asked to record the Ryan Purcell 7-inch and they use a drum machine? Were you asked to record that?
I wasn't asked, but I also I don't think I expected to be on it. You know, I think it was more of like a project that they were doing, and Dylan, who's Walter's little brother, is, you know, part of our crew. He's a friend of ours, and he had the machine. He had an MPC 2000, 3000, 4000, the MPC. So he was programming beats, and I think that was important. I wasn't programming beats, so I think that made it. You know, we used to play that song live a little bit, and it was cool with real drums, but it also kind of sounded like a Shelter song. So what's cool about the drum machine is that it's different. It's forever. You know, it is what it is. It's like its own thing.
All right. So new people asking, is there any chance to have a new Rival School music?
Maybe we talk about it. You know, well, we wrote a lot of songs before we kind of went on our last little hiatus. Me and Cash and Walter got together like 3 times at this house in New Jersey, our friend's house, and we wrote music, and we wrote like 15 songs, and we went to Jay Robbins' studio, we did some demos, and then we kind of put it on the shelf. So we have music, and we talk about it. So I don't know. I would love to do it. We'll see. It's just about finding time, and, you know, I know Walter's doing Quicksand and a bunch of things, and, you know, life gets trickier, but I would say maybe.
Well, you know, but I never saw. I know you play Barcelona. You played once in Barcelona, and that day I got the ticket for the show. But that day my grandmother died, and I remember I missed the show. But I remember you played Barcelona, so I never saw you. Like,
we played there once, and like if you ask me like my favorite day on tour ever, I'm sure if you ask me or Walter or a few of us, like, we'd probably say the same thing. But long story short, we were on tour. It was summertime. We were in Spain. We played Bilbao, and I think we played Barcelona. We played Bilbao, and then we had a day off, and we were supposed to go to Geneva. And it was summer, and it was really hot. And we were going to just go to Geneva because the bus driver wanted to like sleep, and it was a city, and he could plug his bus in, and it was like where we were going to play next. And it just was like, we don't want to go to Geneva. We want to go to the beach. It's fucking summertime. So we started asking these locals, hey, where would you go to the beach? And I think we were driving through Barcelona, but anyway, they said Caracas. A bunch of people said go to Caracas.
Oh yeah, Caracas.
Caracas, where Salvador Dali lived, you know. So we told the bus driver. The bus driver was pissed at us because we had to go on these windy roads in this big bus, and he fucking hated us. We get there, and we woke up sweating. He didn't turn the air conditioning on. We're sweating. Anyway, we rented scooters. We cruised around. We went swimming. Had like one of the best days on tour ever. It was magical.
Oh wow!
So a lot of love for Spain, and always. Yeah. Another Spain story real quick too. I mean, I know it's Basque Country, so it's different. But Youth of Today in 1989, I think we played like Paris, and we had some crazy drive to
overnight
Victoria.
Drive. Yeah.
Like crazy in a van.
That might be like a 15 hours driving or something.
In 1989, and we got there, and we were just so fucking out of it. But I remember they had, and this was 1989, there was an all-vegetarian Spanish restaurant that we went to. And, you know, being all vegetarian at that time, like, it was really hard to find food, and so that was, and being Spain, a Basque country, the food was amazing.
It was
So
paradise, right?
it was,
All
man.
right. So people is asking about how come you record music for Limp Bizkit and then tour with
Yeah,
them.
I played. So I'm kind of always down for like, the adventure. I'm a musician. I like to play music with people who are serious about it, or try new things or see what it's about. So in 1999, I got asked to play in Glassjaw. Glassjaw, because their drummer
Yeah, yeah.
didn't work out. The producer hired me. I got hired as like a session drummer to play. And then they wanted me to be in the band and made this record. But I met the producer, Ross Robinson. We became friends. Ross did At the Drive-In, did Glassjaw, but he also did the first Limp Bizkit, the first Korn record. So years later, he called me up and said, "Hey, Limp Bizkit wants to make like a heavy record. Do you want to like play drums on it?" So sure, yeah, man. I mean, I was never a Limp Bizkit fan. I thought they were kind of a joke, and but I was like, let's try it, let's meet. And so we met, and they were really nice. Wes Borland and I are like became good friends, and went to a beautiful studio, and they were paying me to play drums, and it was like, they had these two vegetarian chefs there cooking food, and I had two drum sets set up, and I was just like, I mean, it was fucking nice. So. So really, so that's the answer. I mean, really, just the experience. I mean, if you're a nice person and you want to pay me to play drums on your record, sure, let's
I'm
talk.
down.
Yeah.
All right. So
And also, the
what
music
before?
was good. Real quick, the music that we made was really good. It was like kind of like the second Rage Against the Machine record meets like Pantera maybe. It was like
Uh-huh.
heavy. And then little by little, it got fucked up, and it became this EP. And then they re-recorded stuff. They did a ballad, and they did like a hip hop track, and the record's not very good. But the original songs for that record, the original idea before it got fucked up, was it was headed in a really good place.
Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
never been a fan of them. I never check them
No.
out, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's good
It's all
stuff.
right.
So Would Be Free
Yeah.
has a new record, right? And
Yeah.
who's in the band? I mean, I know you're supposed to come to Europe with Judge, but something happened that you didn't make it here.
Yeah. So Scott, our singer, Scott Vogel, he sings for
Yeah,
Terror.
yeah.
He broke his neck or had something fucked up, so
Okay.
he couldn't go. Um, but Scott sings. Andrew Klein from Strife, he plays
Yeah.
guitar, and then this guy Joe Garlip, who was from Buffalo, who grew up with Scott. I think he was in a band called Envy. He also plays guitar.
Yeah.
And then the first record was Arthur Smilios from Gorilla Biscuits, who lived in New York. So he came out to record, but it was just too hard going back and forth. And
Yeah.
he had a really demanding job. And so then on this new record, we got Alex Beretta from Chain of Strength to play.
Uh-huh.
And so now Alex is in the band, and it's we're gonna try and play shows. The record is really cool. It's 5 songs, and it's a little heavier. It's a little bit, it's interesting because Arthur plays one way and Alex plays another way. And Alex plays a little
Ah,
grittier, and a little heavier, a little nastier. And I think you hear that. Just that one change influenced it a
yeah.
lot. But we have 2 songs that are streaming now. Check it out. And then the other 3 songs are really cool also.
So hopefully, when the COVID thing is over, then you make it Europe. But
Yeah.
hopefully next
Yeah,
year.
definitely.
And back to Shelter a little bit. 2018, you did the came back. How did it happen? And how did you guys got together, and how did it feel?
With Shelter or with Youth of Today or
Yeah,
both?
yeah. In 2018 is when you start playing shows again as Shelter, and then how
Yeah.
the idea came up.
I think that we were probably talking about it because I think Youth of Today came first. So by playing
Uh-huh.
Youth of Today shows, now I'm traveling again with Ray and Purcell, and we're all talking. And so I think we just talked about Shelter, and I think that there were a couple offers, and promoters were saying, "Hey, can you do this?" And one was from This Is Hardcore, the festival. Our friend Joe
Okay, yeah.
Hardcore invited us to play. So then it's like, all right, well, do we do it or do we not do it? So it takes a lot of work though, because we all live in different places. Who's going to play bass? I wanted to get as many original players as possible. So we got Casey, who's an original bass player. And Casey's really special because he sings backup vocals, and he sang on a lot of those recordings. Like he did the low harmonies on like The News and songs like that. I think he played the guitar
Yeah.
solo on The News. So he's like tied to the original thing.
Uh-huh.
We tried to get like an original guitar player, but it just wasn't working out. So we got Maru, who's just younger, and he's not really a hardcore dude, but he's a devotee, really talented. He could sing really well, and can play really well. And so it just took time and like rehearsing, and then coming up with a set list and just chipping away. And then we played that one show, and it worked. It was good. And then that's really the test of like, all right, it was good. People like it. We liked it. Let's do more. And that's really the whole thing with Judge, with Youth of Today, with Shelter. It's about spending time with your friends and also doing the music some real justice, because we love it.
Uh-huh.
For me, like I really want to work at making it as good as possible when people see Youth of Today now, or Shelter now, or Judge now, because it's important to like have it all just. I don't want to go out feeling like a bunch of old dudes that are still playing
Yeah.
this shit. Like, and I still play drums. We all still play our instruments, and Ray is still extremely focused. And it's all coming from the heart. Same thing with Mike, with Judge. So like that's kind of why we do it. And I think that as soon as it stops becoming fun, or stops becoming like energetic, like if you don't feel that energy anymore, then we would probably
Uh-huh.
stop. But so yeah, anyway, the short answer is we got back together. This is Hardcore. And then it was like other little things just kind of presented themselves, whether it's
No,
a festival in Europe, or this or that, or we did it.
that makes sense. So, time to talk about new music. There is the rumor that Shelter might do a new record. Is it
I think
happening?
we talk about it. I mean, it's a little easier with Shelter because it's not like straight up hardcore, like it's
No.
like Shelter,
We need
and
to.
I feel like we could sort of do it. So we talk about it. I think Purcell's been writing some songs. It's just hard to like get together and make it happen. You really need to just
Yeah.
spend time together and to try things and try things and try things in order for it to really have a chance at being special. So, we talk about it. Purcell wrote a Judge song, which is really cool, that we played a little bit in sound check. Never really tried it with vocals. So, we talk about it, but also I'm also okay just to leave everything the way it is. I don't.
Uh-huh.
It has to be. It has to be right. It has to be the right thing. So, maybe we'll do an EP, maybe 2 songs, maybe 1
Uh-huh.
song. You know, um, it's just it has to be good. It has to be really good. What do you think?
I mean,
Should we do it or no?
I think you should do it. You want to do it. I mean, as you said, that you do it for yourself, and then if other people like it, then it's cool. But I got the feeling that the lineup of Shelter has the right the right energy to do something good. I mean, it was a.
Yeah.
I mean, I see. As you said that you never listened the last records of Shelter. I saw Shelter especially on the last. I mean, on the last few years after Mantra is when they start coming to Spain, and I can see this lineup is probably the best one that I've seen.
Ah, cool.
As they,
Yeah.
yeah, I like it, and I can't really see Shelter doing like some kind of a changing of the Supreme of the style, the mid tempo,
Yeah.
melodic, not that fast. Like a couple faster songs here and there. I would like to see
Yeah.
it, but
All
we'll
right.
see.
Well,
I
I
don't
think.
see. I tell me.
No, I think I agree. I think we just have to. We have to see where life takes us. I want to. Ray and Purcell live upstate New York, so
Uh huh.
maybe I'll try and go there and see him. But yeah, it's there's, Purcell, both those guys just, it has to come from them because they started the band, or Ray really started the band. And it's with
Yeah.
Judge, I feel like it has to come from Purcell and Mike a little bit, because that's their baby and they're the nucleus of it, but
Yeah, I know what you mean.
let's do,
At the same,
yeah.
at the same time, I think like one of the things I like it from Shelter when I saw you last year is like Rai has a lot of stuff to say, and because it's something meaningful when he talks between the songs. It's not like saying whatever, it has a meaning. And I think it would be good if you can put those meanings into songs, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if he have.
I think so too. He definitely has it. I mean, I remember the first Youth of Today show when we came back with Walter and Ray and Purcell and me, and sitting behind the drums, and Ray was talking in between songs and like literally getting chills again. Like just like, this dude has this way of still just keeping you on the edge of your seat, and he's explosive. Even if he can't, the show that you're showing, the one in Barcelona, we played 15 shows straight. So the band is really tight, but Ray's voice is really screwed up.
I know.
But even when his
But
voice
he still
is screwed
delivers.
up, there's still some magic, to it. I think.
You remember when you play, like I can't remember when it was, but I was at Berlin. It was at Youth of Today and That Nasty.
Yeah.
Like it was my first time seeing Youth of Today with We Are Not in the Salon lineup. You remember you going into the stage and Rai says something like, when they say they are gone, we say we're back, and it was like at you.
Yeah.
Like, okay. It's gonna be so good.
Yeah,
I remember that.
He said that same thing in Philadelphia. If they think that, if you think you lost you think you lost this, you think you did this, you just tell them one thing. And then he looked at me like I was supposed to start the song. He looked at me like go, like it was like Ray from when we were kids, And I was just like, oh shit, tick tick tick, like yikes.
Well, I think, I was about to ask you what's the plan for Shelter, but more or less we've been talking about the plans for Shelter in the future. I guess when all the pandemic is gone and everything is back to normal, I guess you'll do some tours or whatever. So hopefully you're back in Spain and Barcelona, but I don't know. We see.
Yeah, we'll see. Ray, he teaches yoga, so sometimes we try and coordinate it with if he can come over and teach, and then we can play some shows. But it's tough. It's tough to get him away. It's tough to get everyone together. But we've been doing a pretty good job. That tour again from the show, that was 15 shows straight. So like we did a lot on that tour, and we've done. We're able to get it done. Just it takes a lot of effort, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know. Feel free to add whatever you like to the interview, and thank you very much for doing the interview.
Yeah, man. I just like I said before. I've got so much love for Spain, and I know there's different regions, and so Badalona is different than Barcelona, right? Remind me.
Yeah, it's the next town to Barcelona.
Okay.
But
just so much love and so much respect for both you guys, because you're old school. You make it happen. And I love when I get those emails from you, David, of like, hey, man, we're doing it. And it's always a good time. I'll never forget. Oh, yeah, that was funny. It's a whole other story. I told you the story when I thought I left all we played a show and we got paid. And I thought I left all the money in the hotel. But it was in this, I had a backpack with all these zippers. And it was in this like crazy zipper. And the whole van ride from Basque Country down to Barcelona, I think it was Youth of Today, and I was flipping out. I was like, oh my God, I left it in the hotel. But that was no fun.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you guys, man.
Thank you very much, and I hope to see you both in June with Judge. Okay?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.